Are money market funds a legit investment? That's the question I'm going to answer in today's episode. And I'm going to particularly address how long have they been in operation in Kenya? Are they regulated? How do they work? What makes them safe? Where do they invest the money that we deposit? And how do these companies make their money? Someone asked this question and they said this. You see, so many people right now are talking about the money market funds, and especially if it is your first time hearing about the money market funds, you are likely to ask yourself whether this is legit or not, especially if you're African or Kenyan. Tushaoshwa so many times, you see opportunities popping up, and whenever you see so many people talking about it, it raises that question and inafanya unaanza kuwa skeptic, because you see again pesa yetu tunaipata tukisweat, so you do not want to put it somewhere penye it will disappear. If it is your first time here ama umekuwa ukiwatch and you've not subscribed yet, please press that subscribe button. Na pia ukiwa na feedback or any other particular question that you'd like me to address pertaining money and investment, please leave it in the comment section below. So let's get started. How long have the money market funds been in operation in the country? Money market funds zimekuwa around for over 20 years. Most of these companies that you see offering this service have been in operation for over 20 years. Personally, I've sold money market fund accounts for over 10 years. And there's probably a reason why you've never heard about the money market funds up until today. Number one, back then hizo money market funds zilikuwa very expensive to get in, because ulikuwa unahitaji a minimum of 1 million bob to open an account. And therefore, the few people that were selling the money market fund accounts were targeting a specific category of clients, and obviously the affluent class. Because you see again in the 90s, if you had 1 million bob, basi you must have been doing very well. The next thing is that right now we are exposed to a lot of information because of the platforms such as YouTube, TikTok, and so many people have come to the stage. There's so many people talking about financial matters. There's so many people talking about investments and giving different sorts of advice. But this was not the case in the 90s and in the early 2000s. So the fact that you get to hear a lot about this right now does not mean that the money market funds just started operating the other day. Zimekuwa around for a very long time. The next thing I'd like to talk about ni their regulation. How are they regulated? Money market funds zina fall under the category of unit trusts. All these fund managers are regulated by a body called the Capital Markets Authority. The Capital Markets Authority, or the CMA, is the body responsible for licensing the fund managers, for coming up with the framework that the fund managers should operate with. And remember, money market funds, hazichukuliwangi kama mboga and you throw them wherever you want. There are guidelines that have been put in place to ensure that your money is safe as the investor. And this brings me to the next point. How do they work? So the money market funds, tumesema, they are part of what we call unit trusts. And this is a pool of resources whereby your money, my money, company X money, that person's money zinaletwa pamoja, and when it is brought together, then the fund manager picks from there. Money market funds are part of what we call the unit trusts. The unit trust huwa ni a pool of resources, pool of funds, pool of money brought together by different investors. Person A, B, and C, then company sijui flani and flani, all these bring their money together, and this pool of funds is managed by a fund manager. The fund manager ndio wana make decisions to see where to put the money, and at the end of the day, the goal is to be able to better bargain for a good return. You see, if you could go to the bank web mwenyewe and you start negotiating for a better return, especially on something like a fixed deposit, they would give you, depending on the money that you come with on board, hiyo ndio watatumia kunegotiate. So if, for example, you came in with 100,000 or 50,000 bob and you're expecting to be given 10% return on investment on your fixed deposit, hiyo is not likely going to happen. So the reason why now we bring our monies together is because my 100,000, your 50,000, and your 1 million, and the other person's 10 million, when it's brought together, the fund manager now can go to such a place and get a better bargain. You see, ukikuja to the same bank, mimi niko na 50,000, wewe uko na 5 million, you'll definitely walk away with a better rate than me. It's just the way it is. So now the unit trusts zinatupea that platform. That is why now the money market funds zinatupatia that opportunity to be able to get better returns, because at the end of the day, whatever the fund manager gets out there, annihilate a home and it is distributed equitably. So if they got 15%, we all get 15% of our money. I'll get 15% of my 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, and you will get 15% of your 1 million, and the other person will get 15% of their 200 million. It does not now come with, oh, I came with more money, I'm supposed to get a better deal. This has given everybody a better opportunity to bargain and to get the stress out of the way. So when it comes to the next question of what makes them safe, why are they safe? The structure by which they operate in is one of the main reasons why they are safe. First and foremost, the money is supposed to be invested in very liquid assets which are short term. The money also has limits. You can only invest it in a particular instrument to a given percentage. You can't just take all the money and put it in one basket. So this also helps minimize the risk that you will be exposed to. For example, if the fund manager decides that they're going to put some of this money in the fixed deposit account, they will only put it to a certain percentage. They are also not going to put this money where it's going to be tied for a long time. And they're also going to have a provision that is available and liquid. Whenever someone wants to withdraw their money, they can always get access to that particular money. All these have been put in place by the regulator, and they are monitored closely to ensure that we all are safe when our money is invested. And again, all the companies, all the fund managers operate by this book, and this is why I keep saying there is no company that is safer than the others. Finally, there's also a structure that makes this particular fund to be safer than most other avenues of investment. Number one, there's a fund manager. We've already talked about that. Next, there is a custodian. The custodian is the one that is responsible in safekeeping of your money. The custodian has to be a bank. It has to be a completely different institution from the fund manager. So the fund manager can be ethical, and then the custodian has to be a bank that is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. The custodian is to ensure that your money is kept safely. And now you see, the fund manager does not have access to go and withdraw the client's money from the bank or this custodian. The only thing that the fund manager can do is to give instructions. The money will be moved from the account to go to the investment place that it's supposed to go to. If it's supposed to buy the treasury bills or it's supposed to go to a fixed deposit somewhere, the money moves to that particular point where the instructions have been given. But they cannot go there and decide to walk away with billions of investors' funds and run away with it. They cannot go to the ATM and withdraw the money. That is one of the reasons why the money that you invest is also very safe. The third player in the team is known as a trustee. The trustee ni yule mtu ambaye ana oversight, the one that makes sure that everything is played according to the rules. So there's a fund manager, there's a custodian, there's a trustee, and trustees are supposed to be reputable institutions and preferably another bank. So it can only be a fund manager who's independent, a custodian who's also an independent entity, and then a trustee who's also supposed to be another independent entity. On top of that, pia utapata an auditor who ensures that the records, the books, the way the money is moving, what they have been giving is exactly what they said it was. And now you look at all these things that have been put in place, they are all supposed to work together to ensure that wherever investor, your money is safe. And now to answer, where do they invest the money that we give them? The money market funds are invested in short-term instruments, some of them being the treasury bills, the treasury bonds, the fixed deposits, promissory notes, but in short, the money is invested in areas that are secure or low risk. And this is supposed to ensure that your money remains safe while giving a return that is above the inflation rate. So sometimes you'll hear me say things like, instead of having to go through the hassle of bidding for bonds or the treasury bills, you can deposit your money in the money market fund accounts and it will still be in the same treasury bills, it will still be in the same treasury bonds. And instead of taking time to go and negotiate for a better return at a fixed deposit account, you can always put your money in the money market fund account and it will still achieve the same results. And this time very liquid. You can do top-ups, you can do withdrawals, among so many other options that the money market fund will give you. And last but not least, how do these companies make their money? How do they make profit? How do they make money out of your money? Because if they're going to the market and they're going to get 15, 10%, 12%, how does this translate to them making a profit? Well, all these fund managers are supposed to charge a management fee. This is a fee that they'll be charging from you to help them run their business. So I've already done a video to explain the management fees and whether you should be worried about it. How much are they supposed to be charging? I'll leave a link on the description below. But in short, this is how they make their money. So the goal for every fund manager is to grow to the level that the numbers that you have invested, the funds under management or the assets under management, are in the levels whereby when you're getting the 2% or the 3% or the 1.5%, it's now able to run all your expenses. And this includes things like running the host, the servers, the client service people, the operations people, and all the system around, and then also make a profit as a business. So is it charged on the interest or on the principal that you deposited? This money, assuming, let me give an example. You see, this is the money market fund. So if you're going to deposit your money, your 1 million, your 100,000, when you see the 15% or the 10% that has been declared, the fund manager has already deducted their management fee. They have already taken their 2%. So it's literally something like they made 12%, they took their 2% and they gave you the 10%. So the management fee is charged on your principal, only that you do not get to feel the effect because whatever you receive is already net of their deductions. And that is how these fund managers get to make money. If there's a question that you'd like to get clarity on, leave it in the comment section below. And I hope now you get to realize that this is not something that is new, something that is here to take away your money. Choose the company that you feel comfortable with. Do not be forced to put your money where you don't feel safe. But all these companies are all safe. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Otachi Brian.